David Williams, Ratburger. Chapter 1. Prawn Cocktail Crisp Breath. The hamster was dead, on his back, legs in the air, dead. With tears running down her cheeks, Zoe opened the cage. Her hands were shaking, and her heart was breaking. As she laid Guinea Nut's little furry body down on the worn carpet, she thought she would never smile again. "Shella!" called Zoe as loudly as she could. Despite her father's repeated pleas, Zoe refused to call her stepmother or even mum. She never had, and she vowed to herself that she never would. No one could replace Zoe's mum. Not that stepmother even tried. "Shut your face, I'm watching TV and stuffing myself," came the woman's gruff voice from the lounge. "It's Guinea Nuts," called Zoe. "He's not well." This was an understatement. Zoe had once seen a hospital drama on telly where a nurse tried to revive an old man, so she desperately attempted to give her hamster mouth-to-mouth resuscitation by blowing very gently into his open mouth. That didn't work. Neither did connecting the rodent little heart to an AA battery with a paperclip. It was just too late. The hamster was cold to touch, and he was stiff. "Shella, please help!" shouted the little girl. At first, Zoe's tail came silently before she let out a gigantic cry. Finally, she heard her stepmother trudge reluctantly down the hall of the little flat, which was situated high up on the 37th floor of a leaning tower block. The woman made huge effort noises whenever she had to do anything. She was so lazy she would order Zoe to pick up her nose for her fruit, though, of course, Zoe always said no. Shella couldn't even let out a groan while changing the channels with the TV remote. Huffed Shella as the thundered down the hall. Zoe's stepmama was quite short, but she made for it, being as wide as she was tall. She was in a world spiritual. Soon Zoe could sense the woman standing in the doorway, blocking out the light from the hall like a lunar eclipse. What's more, Zoe could smell the sticky sweet aroma of prawn cocktail crisps. Her stepmother loved them. In fact, she boasted that from when she was a toddler she had refused to eat anything else and spat any other food back in her mum's face. Zoe thought the crisps stank, and not even of prawns. Of course, the woman's breath absolutely reeked of them too. Even now, as she stood in the doorway, Zoe's stepmother was holding a packet of the nauseous snack with one hand and feeding her face with the other while she survived the scene. As always, she was wearing a long grubby white t-shirt, black leggings and furry pink slippers. The bits of skin that were exposed were covered in tattoos. Her arms bore the names of her ex-husbands, all since crossed out. Oh dear, the woman spat her mouth full of crisps. Oh dear, how very, very sad. It's earth-breaking. The poor little thing has snuffed it. She leaned over her little stepdaughter and peered down at the dead hamster. She sprayed the carpet with the half-chewed pieces of crisps as she smoked. Dear, oh dear, and all that stuff, she added in a tone what did not sound even remotely sad. Just then a large piece of half-chewed crisp sprayed from Shella's mouth onto the poor thing's little fluffy face. It was a mixture of crisp and spit. Zoe wiped it away gently as a tear dropped from her eye onto his cold pink nose. I got a great idea, said Zoe's stepmother. I just finished these crisps and ya can shove the little thing in the bag. I won't touch it myself. I don't wanna catch something. Shella lifted the bag above her mouth and poured the last of the prawn cocktail's crisps crumbles down her greedy throat. The woman then offered her stepdaughter the empty bag. Dear you go. Bung it in ear, quick before it stinks the whole flat out. Zoe almost gasped on the unfairness of what the woman had just said. It was the fat stepmother's prawn cocktail crisp breath that stank the place out. Her breath could strip paint, it could shears the feathers off a bird and make it bald in the wind change direction. You would get a nasty waft of breath in a town 10 miles away. I'm not buying my poor guinea nuts in crisps packets, snapped Zoe. I don't know why I called for you in the first place. Please, just go. For goodness sake, girl, shouted the woman. I was only trying to help. Ungrateful little wretch. Well, you're not helping, shouted Zoe, with turning round. Just go away, please. Shellers thundered out of the room and slammed the door so hard that plaster fell from the ceiling. Zoe listened as the woman she refused to call Mum trudged back to the kitchen. No doubt, no rip. Open another family-sized bag of prawns. Cocktail crisps to fill her face with. The little girl was left alone in her tiny bedroom, cradling dead hamster. But how had he died? Zoe knew that guinea nuts was very young, even in a hamster's years. Could this be a hamster murder? She wondered. But what kind of person would want to murder a defenseless little hamster? Well, before this story is over, you will know, and you will also know that there are people capable of doing much, much worse than evil man in the world is lurking somewhere in this very book. Read on if you dare. So guys, that is the first chapter. The next chapter is called A Very Special Girl. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Bye.